There is a version of you in the future that you would not recognize today. Not because he is louder or richer or more confident, but because he is cold, precise, unshakably consistent. If you met him now, he wouldn't inspire you. He would unsettle you. Most people think discipline is about habits, motivation, or willpower. That's comforting, and it's wrong. Real discipline is not self-improvement. It is self-violence. It is the ability to look at your weakness, your emotions, your excuses, and eliminate them without negotiation. This is not moral philosophy. This is strategy. It's the kind of thinking Niccolo Machiavelli understood well. And once you understand this, you'll never see yourself the same again. Discipline is not a habit you install. It is a war you declare. A war against emotion, against fatigue, against the voice in your head that whispers, later, tomorrow. You deserve a break. Most men lose not because they are incapable, but because they negotiate with themselves. And every negotiation ends in retreat. Power does not come from motivation. Motivation is soft. It depends on mood. Power comes from domination, from the ability to act while every part of you resists, to move forward while tired, to execute while bored, to stay rigid while your mind begs for relief. This requires emotional brutality, not cruelty toward others, but ruthlessness toward your own weakness. In a chaotic world, softness is a liability. Emotional men are predictable. Predictable men are controllable. If your behavior changes with how you feel, you are exposed. Anyone can wait you out. Anyone can push the right button. This is why Niccolo Machiavelli never wrote for idealists. He wrote for those who understood reality as it is. Unstable, competitive, unforgiving. Discipline is how you harden yourself against that reality. And, this is why disciplined men don't just earn respect. They create tension just by existing. Why does discipline make people nervous? Well, when discipline becomes real, something strange happens. People start acting differently around you. Not openly and not immediately, but you can feel it. The pauses get longer, the jokes soften, and the pressure disappears. That's because, you see, disciplined people are hard to read and impossible to push. Most social control relies on reaction. If someone knows you get defensive, they provoke you. If they know you seek approval, they withhold it. If they know you avoid discomfort, they apply pressure until you fold. A disciplined man removes those levers. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't bargain. He doesn't react on schedule. And that absence of response, well, it creates unease. This isn't about being intimidating. It's about being unmovable. When people realize they can't steer your behavior with emotion, guilt, or urgency, they lose influence. They don't feel inspired. They feel uncertain. And uncertainty is powerful. It forces others to second-guess, to hesitate, to adapt to you. That's the quiet, psychological edge discipline gives you. Not dominance through aggression, but superiority through control. And to reach that state, the state where your presence alone shifts the room, the first thing you must master is silence. The discipline of silence. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. Most people mistake quiet for insecurity because, honestly, they can't tolerate it themselves. They overshare. They announce plans. They broadcast intentions. They seek validation before results exist. Every post, every explanation, every update is a request. See me, approve me, confirm I'm on the right path. That instinct is fatal. Strategic thinkers have always understood this. Niccolo Machiavelli observed that visibility invites interference. The more people know about your intentions, the more they try to shape them, through doubt, advice, pressure, or even envy. Silence removes that access. When you stop explaining yourself, people fill the gap on their own. They project, they speculate, they wonder what you're building. And uncertainty makes them cautious. This is not about hiding out of fear. It's about conserving energy. It's about moving without resistance. When you work in silence, mistakes stay private. Progress stays protected. You stop leaking momentum. This is where discipline first becomes visible. Not in what you say, but in what you refuse to say. You become harder to read, harder to interrupt, harder to influence. And when you disappear long enough, something far more powerful begins to take shape. Working in the dark. Imagine this. 6 months with no announcements, no explanations, no updates, no hints. You wake up, you work, you train, you study, you sleep. And no one knows what you're building. In the dark, something changes. There's no applause to chase, no opinions to defend against, no image to maintain. Judgment disappears, and with it, hesitation. You cut the noise, the endless scrolling, the cheap dopamine, the conversations that go nowhere. You quietly distance yourself from people who only know how to consume, complain, and distract. This isn't loneliness, it's precision. Progress accelerates when no one is watching. Mistakes don't embarrass you, they correct you. Effort doesn't need validation. It compounds. Then, one day, you reappear. You don't announce growth. You don't explain change. You simply exist differently. Your posture is calmer, your speech is slower, your presence feels heavier. People notice, but they can't trace how it happened. And that unsettles them. Because transformation that happens in silence can't be questioned or argued with. It just is. Which leads to the second transformation. Emotional alchemy. There's a lie people believe about discipline, that disciplined men feel nothing, that they're numb, robotic, disconnected. The truth is the opposite. Disciplined men feel everything: fatigue, doubt, frustration, the urge to quit, the pull of comfort. The difference is simple. Those feelings no longer decide their actions. Emotion becomes raw material, not a commander, but a resource. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" You start asking, "What needs to be done?" This is emotional alchemy, the ability to take resistance and convert it into execution, to feel hesitation and move anyway, to feel fear and act precisely because it's there. Once your actions detach from your mood, you become unpredictable. People can't time you. They can't wait you out. They can't manipulate your energy. Most men are strongest only when conditions are perfect. Disciplined men operate regardless of conditions. That gap is everything. When emotions stop steering behavior, consistency replaces motivation, and consistency creates inevitability. Others may still be ruled by how they feel, but you're governed by standards. And once your emotions stop controlling you, your behavior becomes impossible to disrupt. The seconds rule and killing hesitation. Your brain is not designed for dominance. It's designed for comfort. It evolved to conserve energy, avoid pain, and seek safety. Which means the moment hesitation appears, your mind will argue for retreat. Not because it's right, but because it's efficient. That's why thinking during weakness is fatal. When the alarm goes off, when resistance hits, when discomfort appears, you don't analyze, you don't negotiate, you move. 3 seconds. That's the rule. 1, 2, 3, action. If you wait longer, the mind takes control. It starts building stories. You need more rest. Today isn't ideal. Just this once won't matter. Execution collapses. The disciplined man bypasses that system entirely. The command is issued, and the body obeys. Over time, something deeper shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries. You become someone who functions. There's no drama, no internal debate, no emotional build-up. Tasks get done because that's what happens next. This is how hesitation dies, not through motivation, but through automation. And once execution becomes mechanical, reliability becomes visible. Others may still struggle with inconsistency, but you operate. But emotional control isn't enough if your environment is weak. Weaponized isolation. Isolation isn't punishment, it's leverage. Most people fear being alone because silence forces honesty. No distractions, no audience, no borrowed identity. Just you and the standard you live by. When discipline deepens, isolation becomes necessary. Not because you hate people, but because not everyone benefits from your growth. Some profit from your stagnation, from your availability, from your predictability. As you rise, this creates friction. Your consistency exposes inconsistency. Your standards highlight their excuses. They won't say it directly. They'll say you've changed, that you're obsessed, that you're distant. In their story, you become the villain. Accept it. Solitude is where identity sharpens. Away from opinions, expectations, and noise, you see clearly who you are and who you're not willing to be anymore. This is the laboratory. Here, weaknesses surface, discomfort lingers, boredom attacks, and instead of escaping, you confront it. You build discipline without witnesses, and that makes it real. When you finally step back into the world, something feels different. You're not seeking anything from anyone, and isolation does something else. Becoming unpredictable. Predictability is exposure. When people can anticipate your reactions, they can steer your behavior. They know what angers you, what discourages you, what slows you down. And once they know that, control becomes easy. Discipline removes that advantage. You stop reacting on cue. Insults don't escalate you. Loss doesn't derail you. Chaos doesn't rush you. There's a pause, then action. That pause is dominance. It signals that your behavior isn't governed by impulse. It's governed by decision. Manipulative people rely on emotional volatility. They need predictable reactions to apply pressure. When those reactions disappear, so does their influence. Consistency becomes your intimidation. Not loud consistency, not dramatic consistency. Quiet, relentless execution, day after day, year after year, like a glacier, slow, silent, inevitable. It doesn't rush, it doesn't adjust to obstacles, it moves forward and reshapes everything in its path. This kind of discipline can't be argued with, it can't be hurried, it can't be stopped. People sense it long before they understand it, and that's why they hesitate around you. But this only works if your standards are absolute. The standard of thee. Most failure isn't caused by lack of talent or opportunity. It comes from low standards. You accept almost. You tolerate inconsistency. You reward effort instead of results. And over time, that becomes your ceiling. The modern world encourages this. Comfort is everywhere. Food arrives instantly. Entertainment never ends. Distraction is endless. Everything is designed to sedate you, not sharpen you. Discipline in this environment becomes rebellion. You raise the floor. What's acceptable to others becomes unacceptable to you. Not because you're superior, but because you refuse to decay. Time becomes sacred. You stop wasting it on noise, arguments, scrolling, or validation. You guard it because you understand one truth. Time is the only resource you never recover. As your discipline tightens, your availability shrinks. Your attention becomes rare, and rarity creates value. People notice when you're hard to reach. They speak differently when your time isn't cheap. This isn't arrogance, it's consequence. When standards are absolute, behavior stabilizes. There's no debate, only alignment. And finally, there is a death that must happen. The death of the old self. There is a version of you that cannot come with you any further. The one that needs approval. The one that explains himself. The one that wants to be liked, understood, forgiven. That version must die. This isn't metaphorical comfort. It's psychological reality. As long as your old identity remains alive, it will sabotage the new one. It will whisper when things get hard. It will bargain when standards tighten. This is a war with your past self. And in every war, something is lost. You may lose relationships. You may lose familiarity. You will be misunderstood. That pain is the tax. Don't resent it. Don't dramatize it. Pay it. Because on the other side of that loss is rebirth. A self guided by logic, not emotion. By standards, not approval. By intention, not impulse. This new version doesn't need validation to move forward. He doesn't look back to negotiate. He acts. The old identity fades quietly, not in crisis, but in discipline. Day by day, decision by decision. And once that happens, everything about how you move through the world changes. Cold freedom and final choice. When discipline becomes real, anxiety fades. Not because life gets easier, but because you're prepared. Anxiety comes from knowing you won't show up. Discipline removes that doubt. This freedom is cold, it's quiet, it's solitary. Like the wolf on the ridge, watching the herd below. They're warm, they're safe, and they're owned. You're exposed to the wind, but sovereign. Discipline becomes your fortress. They can take status, comfort, approval. They cannot take your standards. And here's the truth. The world is getting softer. That's your advantage. While others numb themselves, you sharpen. While they seek comfort, you build control. If this resonated, you already know why. Comment below. I choose the cold path.